Are you looking for cheap date night ideas in winter that can be dressed up, dressed down, done at home, done out of the home, that actually help you reconnect and have fun again? In this episode, we're diving into some of the best winter date night ideas, as well as how to bring back the friendship and romance in your marriage and just have fun again. I'm going to show you how you guys can still have fun together, whether you're snowed in, saving money, or just craving quality time without a babysitter. These winter at-home date night ideas will help you strengthen your bond, enjoy each other's company, and rekindle connection in a pressure-free way that keeps Christ at the center. And the best part is that this episode's ideas are so adaptable that these could fit any season of life and any stage that you are in.
Welcome to the United Christian Marriage Podcast, where we help you build a healthy, united marriage that impacts your family now and for generations to come. If your marriage feels disconnected or like you're the only one trying and he just doesn't get it, then you're in the right place. I'm Micaiah, a Christian marriage coach, trauma-informed mentor, and wife of a blue-collar man. I've been in the trenches too, and I've helped women make small but powerful shifts in their marriage daily, because it's really those little things that make the biggest difference. And I'm here to help you do the same, without the shame, without fluff, and always with Jesus at the center. On this podcast, we talk about biblical truths that you can actually apply to your marriage. We talk about how to communicate effectively and what it takes to create a deeply connected marriage, even if right now you're in a really hard place. I got pregnant at 17, married at 18, and had to build a life and marriage I never saw a model. Jesus was all I had, and those early years, they were rough. Diapers, emotional outbursts, and total communication breakdowns. But if we can do it, you can too. So grab your coffee or tea and a notebook, and let's dive into today's episode.
All right, guys, if you want my personal help crafting date night ideas or a scripture and prayer time routine for you and your husband, if you guys want my help digging into maybe connection or intimacy, communication, the perfect place to get my input on that and my personal feedback, help, support, prayer is by grabbing a one-on-one 5-day challenge with me. You can grab that. The link is in the show notes. It is still free for a limited time. And I'm just excited to get you guys into those and get to really chat with you guys and get to know you better, because obviously a podcast is a little more one-sided. And on that note, please also come join us in our Bible study group for wives. We share Bible study content, but we also take prayer requests, encouraging scriptures, just connect. There's sometimes Q&A type stuff. We just get to share our hearts together, and that's a great place to come and connect with me as well. And the best part of it is that I often am posting stuff like this in there, like more date night ideas and stuff like that. And so I already have those posts in there too. You can always go back and see the history, and then you'll get all the new posts as they come. So it's just a great place to come and get supported. And I would really encourage you to join us there. So the link for that is also in the show notes below. All right, so let's just first, before we get to the date night ideas, just jump into the 3 steps to having that romance without pressure and how to bring back fun and friendship in your marriage. So step 1 is to release the expectations. And you might know those off the top of your head, but some of you may not have your expectations top of mind. They may be a little more buried, and we might have to dig them out. And so you might have to take some time in prayer or journaling and really figure out what are your expectations that maybe you weren't seeing. Maybe they're a little more hidden or under the surface. And so maybe you have expectations and maybe you don't. And so either way, we want to find those expectations. What are they? And just hand them over to God and say, no, your will be done. And also beyond that, whatever that looks like, even if that means my spouse doesn't react the way that I want, I'm in control of me, and I'm going to choose to respond in a godly way, as close as we can, right? And so the scripture that came to mind was Matthew 11:28, when Jesus tells all who are weary to come to him and that they will find rest in him, right? And so when we're one, I just want to say expectations are exhausting. I know firsthand. I'm the queen of expectations, and I let it ruin the first 2 years, 1.5 years of my marriage, where, I just didn't even realize that it was a problem until God pointed it out to me and showed me how I even allowed expectations to ruin our proposal and our wedding and all those things. My expectations weren't met, and so there was this negative connotation on the memory, and I was letting that get to me, and I was letting that just affect anytime those topics would come up. And it was a sore point between me and my husband because of it. And there was other things where I was constantly bringing these expectations into, and I was ruining days. I was ruining things that were supposed to be fun because something went wrong, and then I felt like, oh, it's all ruined now, And so that was a struggle that we went through, and that I went through specifically, in just learning to let that go and learning to try to make the best out of every situation. And so when I think of Jesus saying, "Come to me, all who are weary and burdened," I think about how part of that is we have to release our expectations to him. We have to acknowledge that he's greater than we are. We have to find rest in him, which we do by getting closer to him, which usually I feel like you don't get closer to Jesus if you're still grasping for control at all the different straws in your life, right? We get closer to Jesus by letting go of what we think we need to control and just leaning into him and asking him, Lord, what do you want me to do, right? So I encourage you to just take that mindset and that heart posture for yourself and release it all to him and just be okay. Say, whatever happens, I'm going to make the best of it, right? And then some questions to just reflect on, journal on, pray on is, what would make us feel at peace? What would help us be present tonight? If you're thinking in your marriage specifically, what would be a peaceful and present atmosphere for you guys? What would help you laugh again, right? What would be fun? What would be funny? What would be entertaining? And remember to let go of comparison. We don't want to be scrolling Instagram being like, oh, look what they're doing. Look how much fun they're having, right? That stuff will steal your joy. Let's not do that. Of course, you can find inspiration from stuff like this or Pinterest or wherever, but it's just important that you're willing to acknowledge that everybody's marriage is different, and it never really does look picture perfect. Yes, people curate certain things to look picture perfect, but that's just a snapshot of a moment. And I can guarantee you that their entire marriage, their entire, experience together has not been picture perfect. So remember to put all that aside and remember that God is inviting you to rest and enjoy him and each other again. Not to perform or, try to fixate this perfect grandiose date or, moment of connection, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be perfect. It's not the only one you're ever going to have, right? You're going to have more date nights. So, okay. And then step 2 is to reconnect through friendship. And so before, romance is more than a friendship, right? Well, I don't know if I should say romance. Really more marriage is more than friendship, right? Marriage is so intricate and it's just deeper and there's so much involved. But friendship is a part of that when it's good, right? When it's a good marriage, there's usually an aspect of friendship. And so before we even get to the romance part, I want you to focus on the friendship part. Because usually if we slip into the roommate phase or these other things, it's when people explain the roommate phase to me, it doesn't sound like they're living with their best friend, right? It doesn't, right? And it's well, the roommate thing could also almost be a good thing if it were super fun and was you were living with your best friend and you're living it up, you're having a great time, you guys like do fun things together and like you enjoy having each other there to like pray for each other and support each other and like, but when people say, oh, we're stuck in the roommate phase, that's not usually what they mean. So if we can at least get back to like get back to the fun part, right? Then we can work our way to the romance from there pretty easily, in my opinion. So, do something that reminds you of who you are as friends. So, think like, what would I do that would be fun with a friend? And then, kind of integrate some of those ideas with your husband. So, play a game, cook together, go for a walk, do something spontaneous and lighthearted, and, talk about other things than maybe what you would usually talk about. Like maybe you usually talk about work or responsibilities, and instead you just say, hey, these topics are off limits during, this time frame. We're only going to talk about anything else, like, right? And so then just talk about whatever else. And if you need to go get like prompts, I know we have some, we get them out sometimes, especially when we're like really tired because we had a long week. And they're just like couples like questions. We get them out. They're like little cards and we read them off and then we'll like answer each other, and it's super fun and it takes less brain power than coming up with questions. But ChatGPT is great with coming up with questions too. So like, and I'm sure there's other resources. So just like get yourself out there, make it happen. Okay, and then some questions to pray reflect on is, what's something new that you've been dreaming about lately? What's one memory that still makes you laugh? And when you rediscover joy and curiosity in each other, like what is the outcome you want out of that? What are you hoping for? Okay. And then step 3 is to reignite the flame, right? With purpose. And I just want to say, so like scripture tells us to do everything in love. And I just want you to evaluate for a second here, like, what is your definition of love? Is it scriptural? Because when we look at scripture, love is not portrayed the way that it is portrayed in modern movies and media and music and right, all the things. And so we have to go back to the biblical definition of love. And when we look at that, it's a little more self-sacrificial, right? Like love is patient, love is kind, love is gentle, love does not boast, right? Like all those things. And so first, I just want you to read those scriptures and reevaluate that in and of itself. And you can find that in 1 Corinthians 13. And then I want to say that instead of really like trying to get this worldly idea of romance back, let's just base this on finding a shared purpose and having like a partnership as you work towards that purpose. And so this is something you both really need to decide together because you need both people's buy-in. And so if you're both Christians, then this can be a little easier, especially if you're both pretty strong in your faith. But if you're not both Christians, then you may have to find one that's like not specific to Christianity, or at least doesn't use Christian wording. It might still be a Christian value, but there may be some compromise involved in all of these things, and that's kind of the point, and that's okay, right? That's a beautiful thing, and it doesn't feel beautiful, but we have to start to shift our mindset around that and say, okay, well, this is actually what I signed up for. I signed up to compromise on things every once in a while, and some, I understand some marriages have more compromise than others, and some partners may be less willing to compromise than others. But again, we want to take the focus back onto what can we do to make ourselves better and not try to control our spouses or, like blame shift, all those things. Like just try to focus on what you can control, which is you, and then try to have those conversations. So some examples of this could be, making some decisions to pray together before bed, plan a small act of service towards your spouse, express appreciation and gratitude. Like those are all amazing things to do. But What I'm talking about is even deeper than that. Like, that's what it would look like. But then what we need to decide right now is, what's your why that's driving that? What is the purpose behind that? And that purpose. I want that to be the same for you and your spouse. So that's something you need to talk through and decide on. Like, why are we together? What is this mission we're on? Right? It's not just to love each other, but there must be a greater purpose to this. Like, what fruitful things are going to come out of our marriage that are going to make this world a better place? Maybe that's your kids. Maybe that's, it could be anything. I do encourage you for it to be more than your children. Like, your children can be a part of that. But I encourage there to be something even bigger than your children, because, again, like, your children are going to grow up and move out, and we still want your marriage to be strong and healthy at that point. So finding that thing, and then the way that you guys go about that, for each of you, it might look a little different, but the why is the same. And that's what's important, is that even if the actions are different, the purpose behind it's the same, and you guys are moving towards the same mission. So some reflection questions to even ask each other, or just reflect on yourself, is, what's one way I can love you better this week? Like, thinking about your spouse and what they need. Or how can we make time for connection without adding too much stress? Like, it shouldn't feel stressful. What's just some fun, easy, light ways that we could add moments of connection throughout what we're already doing, right? Without adding like huge, grandiose schemes that are going to feel like a load of work, right? So hopefully that sparked some ideas for you and helps you just feel lighter about this whole thing and feel like you know what to do going in. And you guys can just start having fun again, right? Without all the pressure. Okay, and so I'm going to get into these date night ideas now. We have them kind of broken up, and I really crafted these to be meant to bring connection and also bring a little bit of that spiritual connection in, and also some of that lighthearted, just like memory making type of things. So the first one is pretty simple, pretty standard: scripture and cocoa. Or I just say, I added the note here that it doesn't have to be cocoa. It could literally be any drink that you guys like. But even another caveat to that, this could also be done in the morning if you wanted to do this. Like, there's two different ways. You could do it at night, and it's more like, oh, our cozy drink, our tea, our cocoa, or whatever you like to drink. And we're like reading scripture, we're talking through like what the Lord's been sharing with us, how we're, doing in our spiritual life. Or there's like the morning aspect of that, where like you start your day together maybe, and you have more like a coffee shop vibe. And this could be done at a literal coffee shop or at home, right? And so that's just, I wanted to show that to you, because there's so many ways all of these can be adapted for, like, I want to do this date night outside the home. I want to do this date night in the home. I want it to be more of like at night, or more in the morning or the afternoon. I want it to be more dressed up or more dressed down. Like, these are so adaptable. So real fast, I'm going to run through them all. So make sure if you're taking notes, you're ready to scribble. Okay. So number 2 is prayer walk. Even in the cold, you can bundle up, walk around your neighborhood, pray over your home, your marriage, and the families around you. 3 is a vision board night. This is, we're coming up to the next year now. It's almost going to be 2026 at the time of recording this. And you guys can create a shared vision board. Like, what are you focusing on for next year? What's your goals? What do you want for your marriage, etc.? Pray over it and just allow your creativity to flow. 4, worship and reflect. Pick some worship songs you love. This can be more like sitting down, reflecting on it together, like praising, or this could be more like just having fun, getting up, dancing, being silly. Step 5, or idea number 5, is a state of our union night, like kind of like a funny theme to throw in, and just like over dinner, take out, talk through areas of maybe communication, finances, intimacy, faith, fun, and just use a simple like 1 to 10 check-in scale so that it doesn't feel too overwhelming. Like from 1 to 10, where are we at with this thing? You know, what do you feel like we could improve on? That sort of thing. Okay. And then 6, marriage journal night. Start a shared journal where you each answer a prompt weekly, like what made me feel most loved this week, where do we need God's help right now, even writing like little love notes to each other, and you like just go in there and surprise and that sort of thing. Number 7, dream planning by the fire. This could be a real fireplace or it could just be a fake YouTube one. We like to do that in the winter, just pull up a YouTube fire video and just let it play. You can talk through your dreams for the next year, or just what you're hoping to see in this season or the next, and just kind of reflecting together like how you want to continue to keep Jesus at the center of it all and how you're doing in your faith, that sort of thing. And then number 8 is to serve together. You could volunteer at a local Christmas outreach, at a church, at a food pantry, that sort of thing. Number 9 is Christmas lights and devotional drive. So like drive around to see Christmas lights while listening to a short devotional or even a marriage podcast episode. Number 10, winter cabin getaway or staycation, whatever is more doable for you right now. Just have a night, whether that's at home or somewhere else, where there's no screens, no social media, no agenda, just connection and prayer. And then 11, game plus gratitude night, a board game, taking turns sharing what you're grateful for. And then the last one here is not really like a structured idea. It's just get creative. And some examples of that would be painting, crafts, Twister, learn a new card game, try a new dance, try decorating your house in a different way. Like think of something silly to do together. All right, so just some additional things to think over before we hop off. What's one area where you've been out of sync lately, and how can you reconnect? How do you feel God stretching you in this season? What can you do to help you feel to help your spouse feel more supported as a partner, and what could they do to help you feel more supported? And what's one habit that you guys could build together in winter that would strengthen your marriage? And maybe even you could double dip and have it be a habit that will help you with your other goals, but also with your marriage. Maybe it's like you have a health goal and you want to do this thing that supports your health goal, but you guys are going to do it together and layer in like some sort of conversation or connection to make it enjoyable and fun and meet both of those goals, right? So I hope that this has been helpful and enjoyable. And again, if you want my personal support or feedback on your situation, grab a marriage communication challenge. And if you want more just community support and free ideas like this, then hop into our Facebook group, and I would love to see you over there and support you there as well. So have a blessed day, and remember that healthy marriages create healthy homes, and healthy homes change generations. I love you. I'm rooting for your marriage transformation, and I am praying for you. Have a blessed day. Thank you so much for listening to this episode. I hope you got so much value out of it. And if you loved this episode, could you do me a quick favor and click 5 stars and leave me a review? It would do wonders for spreading the podcast out to other people who need it. And it only takes a few seconds. If you have an additional few seconds, why don't you go ahead and screenshot the episode and share it to your stories so we can spread the message and get more families healed. Thank you, and until next time, I will be praying for you, and I hope you have a blessed day. Bye.